Welcome to the deep dive. So you've sent us a really interesting bunch of articles this time, all really zeroing in on kids' gut health, something I think every parent considers.
Definitely. Yeah, we're looking at sources like Stanford Medicine, Children's Health, and Terra Germina. Quite a range.
That our goal here, our sort of mission for this deep dive, is to pull out the practical stuff, the tips you can actually use to help support a healthy gut in your children.
Because it's becoming so clear, isn't it? A healthy gut isn't just about, well, avoiding stomach aches.
Right. These articles really emphasize how it's tied to everything, digestion, sure, but also their immunity, their mood, even their development. It's foundational.
Absolutely. And one thing that jumped out, I think it was from the Stanford article, was the sheer number. Over 100 trillion microorganisms living in our gut.
100 trillion. That's almost hard to comprehend.
It really is. It paints a picture of this incredibly complex, diverse ecosystem, almost like a rainforest inside us.
A rainforest. I like that. And each little microbe has its job to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. And disrupting that balance, well, it can have ripple effects we're, still learning about, affecting nutrient absorption, immune system development, you name it.
And it makes you think how important those early years are. Some sources, like Entero Germina, mention that a baby's gut starts out basically sterile.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Then this whole microbial community builds up really fast, especially in the first, 3 years?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Becoming pretty stable around that age. It really drives home how early habits matter for setting that foundation.
It really does. So, okay, maybe that's a good place to start then. The really fundamental part, what our kids eat.
Perfect. Diet seems to be the cornerstone in pretty much all these articles.
Definitely. And the first big message, loud and clear from all of them, is fiber. Its power is just immense.
Right. They all talk about how fiber is like the primary food for the good bacteria.
It helps them flourish, basically.
Right.
And of course, it keeps things moving smoothly through the digestive tract, helps with regularity.
Which, as any parent knows, is huge for avoiding discomfort and, well, crankiness.
Totally. So you're not just preventing constipation, you're actively feeding those good guys so they can do their job. Produce beneficial compounds, support the immune system.
Maybe even influence mood, some articles suggest. It's like cultivating little health defenders inside them.
That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
And the sources give lots of practical food ideas.
Yeah, the usual suspects, but good reminders. Fruits like apples, berries, bananas, those are often the easy wins, right?
Mm-hmm. Then veggies like carrots, leafy greens, sometimes a bit trickier.
Tell me about it, but so important. And whole grains, too. Quinoa, oats, whole wheat bread, brown rice.
Don't forget legumes, lentils, beans. They're real powerhouses for fiber.
Good point. Stanford Medicine even put a number on it, suggesting aiming for up to, 25 grams of fiber a day for kids?
Yeah, up to 25 grams. It's a good target, something concrete to aim for.
Okay, so feeding the existing good bacteria with fiber is step one. What about actually adding more good bacteria? That brings us to probiotics, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Probiotics and fermented foods.
Yeah.
Several articles explain probiotics are basically live bacteria that give you health benefits when you consume enough of them.
And it's not just about those specific probiotic yogurts you see marketed everywhere.
No, not at all. The articles highlight lots of natural sources. Fermented foods are fantastic.
Like yogurt, obviously, but also kefir.
Yep. Kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi. The kimchi might be a harder sell for some kids.
Huh, maybe. What else? Aged cheese.
Aged cheese, yeah. Even some non-dairy fermented options in sourdough bread can contain beneficial bacteria. It's quite a variety.
That's good to know. More options are always better.
And there was a really interesting point from Stanford Medicine about yogurt. The bacteria in it can actually help some kids who are lactose intolerant digest it better.
Oh, really? Because the bacteria break down the lactose.
Exactly. And, if getting fermented foods into the diet regularly is just proving difficult, which happens,
Sure.
then probiotic supplements are mentioned as another option.
Yeah.
Entero Germina, for example, contains Bacillus clausii.
Ah, yes. They mentioned that produces antimicrobial substances, and it's apparently a top recommendation from pediatricians.
That's their material highlights, yeah. So it's another tool in the toolkit.
Okay, so we've covered the eat more of this stuff, but let's be real. Managing kids' diets isn't always easy. What about the things we should actively limit? The danger zones.
Right. And there's strong agreement here, too. Processed foods are a big one.
Like chips, fast food, those packaged cookies.
Exactly. Processed meats, too. They can really upset that delicate gut balance and contribute to things like constipation.
And sugar, of course. Sugary snacks, drinks.
Definitely. Juices, sodas, sweetened drinks, candies, cakes. The refined sugars and often the unhealthy fats in these aren't friends to the gut microbiome.
It seems obvious, but it's worth repeating. And Stanford Medicine also pointed out diet drinks and artificial sweeteners.
Yes, that's important. They might disrupt the good bacteria, too. It seems like a lot of highly processed ingredients can just throw things off kilter.
So, steering clear of ultra-processed stuff as much as possible is key. Okay, diet is huge, but it's not the whole picture, is it? Lifestyle factors came up a lot, too.
Absolutely. It's more holistic. And let's start with something super basic but crucial. Hydration.
Yes, so important, especially if you're upping the fiber. Several articles stress this.
Water is king, obviously.
Right.
But they also mention things like fruit-infused water.
Makes it a bit more appealing sometimes.
Right. Or fresh fruit juices in moderation. Tender coconut water. Even watery foods like melons and cucumbers count towards fluids. It all helps keep digestion running smoothly.
Good point. And it wasn't just what they eat and drink, but how. Meal timing and mindful eating came up.
Yeah, and Terra Germina suggested smaller, more frequent meals can help maintain energy and digestive flow.
Instead of overwhelming the system with huge meals.
Exactly. And other sources talked about regular meal times, trying to stick to a schedule and encouraging mindful eating.
Meaning, like slowing down, paying attention.
Pretty much. Eating slowly, helping kids recognize when they're actually full, avoiding distractions like screens during meals, letting their body's signals work properly.
That makes a lot of sense. If you're distracted, you just keep eating.
Yeah.
Okay, what else on the lifestyle front? Physical activity.
Yes. Crucial. Regular exercise isn't just for muscles and bones. It boosts metabolism, helps digestion.
And some research even links it to better gut bacteria diversity.
That's right, yeah. One article mentioned aiming for at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous activity daily for kids over 5. Get them moving.
60 minutes, good goal. And interestingly, sleep was mentioned too.
Just briefly, but yeah.
Yeah.
Adequate sleep seems important for nutrient use and maintaining healthy gut bacteria levels. It's all connected.
It really is, isn't it? The whole body works together.
Totally. And then there were a couple of slightly less obvious things like exposure to germs.
Oh yeah, Enterogermina mentioned that. Playing outside, having pets, it actually helps build immunity and a healthy gut.
Seems so. It suggests maybe we don't need to be quite so extreme with the sanitizer all the time. Appropriate exposure is good.
That's a fascinating counterpoint to our super hygienic world. And speaking of germs, the flip side, antibiotics.
A big one. Strongly emphasized across the board. Antibiotics save lives, no question, but they're not selective.
They kill the bad and the good bacteria in the gut.
Precisely. So the consensus is use them only when truly necessary for confirmed bacterial infections, not for viruses like colds or the flu where they won't help anyway. Judicious use is key.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about promoting gut health, but how would a parent even know if there is an issue? What are the signs?
Good question. The articles listed quite a few potential red flags.
Tummy troubles seem like the most obvious starting point.
Yeah, things like frequent diarrhea or constipation, vomiting, ongoing indigestion, lots of gas or bloating, recurrent belly pain. Those are definitely key signs.
And it wasn't just digestive stuff, was it?
No. Things like extreme fussy eating beyond typical picky phases, general crankiness or irritability that seems out of proportion.
Well, moods, anxiety.
Yes, those two. Also, unexplained fatigue, maybe issues with weight gain or loss, allergies, food sensitivities. They can all potentially be linked back to gut health.
Wow, that's a broad spectrum. It really highlights that gut-brain connection they talk about.
It does. But it's crucial to remember these symptoms can have other causes too.
Right, so don't jump to conclusions.
Exactly. The main advice is if symptoms are persistent, severe, or worrying you, talk to your pediatrician.
They can help figure out what's going on. And maybe refer to a specialist, a pediatric gastroenterologist, if needed.
If it requires more specialized care, that's the sensible route.
Okay, that's reassuring. And one final point that seemed really important, especially from the 8 Ways article, was making it a family thing.
Yes, getting the whole family involved. Parents modeling the healthy behaviors makes a huge difference in making changes stick.
Leading by example. It's usually the most effective way, isn't it?
It really is. Creates healthy habits for everyone, hopefully for life.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it feels like nurturing a child's gut health is, well, it's a whole picture kind of thing.
Definitely multifaceted. It's about that balanced diet, rich in fiber, maybe some probiotics.
Making sure they drink enough, get moving with regular exercise.
Promoting mindful eating, good sleep, letting them get a bit dirty outside.
And being really careful with antibiotics, it all weaves together.
It does, supporting not just digestion, but their overall health, their development, their well-being. It's all interconnected.
And considering how much we're learning about that gut-brain link, it leaves you with a final thought, doesn't it?
It really does. Beyond mood and immunity, which are becoming clearer, what other, maybe unexpected ways might gut health be influencing our kids' lives?
That's something interesting to ponder. Maybe pay a little closer attention to your child's overall state, energy, focus, resilience, alongside their diet and lifestyle. You might notice connections you hadn't before.
Exactly. Just something to observe and think